Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Bonsai, Dr. Bonsai's Meme Emporium, and today we have another special Black Powder Red Earth related treat. Today we are going over the gameplay accessories. So the gameplay accessories for this are specifically the radial effect template, the gameplay tokens, and the cards. So the first thing we're going to start with is this beautiful CD type envelope with the radial template. It is 1/16 clear Lexan and a 6-inch circle with a second surface print. This is American made, 100% American made. So let's just it was almost so satisfying. There we go. So just take that, and then open this up, and here it is in yet another bag. Remove liner to expose adhesive. Okay, so this is, oh, it's like a, okay, I gotcha. So, all right, so I don't know how well this is going to show. Oh, yes, it shows up pretty good. So you have, okay, here we go. So you have this. So you have two templates. You have the 3-inch template, which is for like the big UAV explosion that Crisis Team Scorch has. And then you have the 2-inch frag template. So you have that. And you have this thing called hips orientation and unit line of sight. So the way that this game works with line of sight, normally with most skirmish games, everybody can see everywhere all the time, whatever. The way this works is that it's actually based on the mechanics of how a human body works when you have a rifle in your hand. So if you're standing and you're a right-handed shooter, you're standing up and you have the gun front, you can do a 90-degree turn at the torso really easily, which is accounted for by that. But if you're trying to shoot more than 90 degrees off to your left and you're a right-handed shooter, unless you do some like a Parthian shot behind, put the rifle behind your head type thing, it's not going to work. And then you'll notice these other numbers on here, and these are for scatter. So you roll, again, this is a D10 based system. So the way it works is a frag grenade will go, okay. Also, the measurements are very precise here because this is my cutting mat is divided into inches. So this one, so for example, you roll a 2. So say my guy was in this orientation, so my hips were facing this way. So you roll, so you roll for basically scatter. So you roll for scatter, say you get a 2, and you're gonna move that template 2 inches that way, or whatever direction. So it's frags. Them frags, they're bouncy. They do bounce. So that is the template. And again, I can't stress this enough with any of these products that I've gotten from Black Powder Red Earth so far. Echelon Software's Black Powder Red Earth range is the premium, high quality feel of the components. Now, here's the other thing. This is a card-driven system, and it's gonna make me get an X-Acto knife, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. So the cards are going to be integral. So having cards be high quality and wear resistant is going to be a really important factor in the longevity of these games, of this game. For me as a player, rather, at least. So here we have our 75, what we call our task cards. So you have atmospherics. Wow, these feel spectacular. Like, they do not feel cheap. Again, made in the U.S. U.S. made cards and printed. Highly, highly, highly comfortable in the hand to hold. So you have, looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it looks like you have 12 of these cards. So basically the way it works, when you're creating a mission, you have, 3 sets of cards. You have the atmospherics, And then you have battle space, which basically says, basically what map you're playing on. So you're going to, if I'm remembering the setup correctly, you intervention cards. Here we go. You get a tasking, and for here you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11 tasking cards. So basically you flop, okay, my first tasking is Oasis Hemlock. My battle space is Pariah Compound. Here, let me sit these down. And then what's the atmospheric's going to be like? That's going to be Clear Skies. So basically you're saying, okay, this is my mission, this is my map, this is any modifiers to that battle space, which is actually a really tight way to generate a unique set of missions. And obviously somebody in the comments could probably figure out the probability, but 11 tasking cards times, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 battle space cards times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times 12 cards for atmospherics. That's a huge number of combinations. And again, these are also kind of coated with exfil, infill actions on. So if you're playing a night raid, like a 3-mission night raid, you can basically chop up the deck into like, okay, I've got 3 infill taskings, I've got 3 action on taskings, or however many action on taskings, and then I have a bunch of other stuff. So there we go. Okay. So, and here's kind of the interesting thing that I really like about a game like this is the card play, because the card play is really important. So you have your intervention cards. Now you got to be careful too, because you see there's difference. There's special intervention. Those are rewards for playing special operations. So basically, if you're for night raid, so if you're playing like a one game thing, you just use these. So, and again, the way these work is that if this is Cold Harbor Crisis Team Scorch, so which means that only Cold Harbor can use those, and then you have this one, which is the IRE Guard, which means only the IRE Guard can use that. So, and again, you have a ton of options to pick, and basically it looks like there's duplicates of each card, because at the beginning of each game, each faction gets like each squad, kill team, whatever, they get 3 cards, and then if you take an operational advisor or a Hongbin enabler, you get their special cards to add to your hand. You get 2 Scoria fire cards, and then you get 2 Feng Wong 918 UAVs. So basically the difference is this is a explosive suicide drone, which is basically it just angles, you tell it, hey, go here, and it angles down and it blows up when it hits something. And then you have the Feng Wong, which is basically, it's like a giant arrow, more or less. So you aim it at somebody, and then if you hit somebody, they basically get, they're going to have a turbo bad day. So, and then last but not least, you actually have the character cards. So these are your quick reference cards for your forces. So again, I cannot stress how good these feel in hand. I don't know if that's coming through in audio, but they're really rigid, they're tough, beautifully matte. You get, you get one for each of your major unit types, so you're not having this thing like in Star Wars Legion, like if you've ever played Star Wars Legion, how you have like, oh, I have a unit card, oh, and then I have this card attached to it, and then I have this card attached to it, and you basically, by the end of the the army list building, you have this one card taking up like a substantial amount of real estate. And thankfully, that's not what we have here. And again, I'll get that also to when we have, get to the tokens. So you have the operational advisor, the assaulter, you know, the light automatic rifleman, and then you have the recce guy. So, and basically, the stats for this are really simple. They have movement range. You know, for him, the Scarred Mutasib, 6 inches. You hit somebody on this, you save yourself on this, and then you have your special abilities. So Frag Grenade and S-Vest. And again, the S-Vest is like, I'm trying to say this without getting YouTube yeeted. Basically, it's a vest that a person would wear if they wanted to blow up with their hand grenade. So, and then of course, if you fumble your save roll, you can just blow up, which would be a negative event for everybody involved. So there's that. And then again, one of the other things I want to stress is how competently made this game is, and how like low bookkeeping everything is. So like these are your user cards. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 stats, you know, plus special abilities. And ooh, what the heck? I'm trying to figure out what this thing is made out of. The tokens are really quite something. Let me try to divvy them up into what they're supposed to be. So again, you know, minimal token bloat. That's the other thing about a game like Star Wars Legion, is you have like tokens. You have tokens all over the goddamn place, and you can't keep track of anything. It's really just onerous. So, you know, I'm really glad that they went with this methodology instead of making it just, it's like, here's a token for this, here's a token for this. It's like, oh, the model activated, done. You know, so let's see here. These, I don't know if this is coming through on the audio at all, but like if you can hear that, you can kind of hear how rigid these are. These are like, I don't think they're hard plastic. They're like some sort of like vinyl, like some very rigid vinyl. So you get, we'll address these little badgers here in a second. So you get a ton of these activation chits, which are red with cross scimitars, and they just say act. So that's all the harder it is. And then you have no, this is now. So this is your turn tracker. So again, this game plays fast. If you can't get something done in 7 turns, you're doing something wrong. So you have, so this, your first turn, time now, your second turn, and you just advance it. So it's an easy way to keep track of it. Nobody owns it. It's just, you know, especially with the way the turn sequence is very free and interleaved, and the activations are very free, and you have a lot of options. It really pays to keep track of what turn you're on, especially for like objectives and whatnot. And then you have the tactical exploitation token, which is basically an objective marker. How beautifully simple is that? You're going to play a game and you have one of these on the board. You don't have 5, you don't have 4, you don't have D3 plus 6 or whatever. You have 1, and the tasking cards tell you exactly where that 1 needs to go, which is fantastic for me because I'm old and my memory's starting to go. And then you have frag chits. So basically, when you say, okay, I'm going to throw a frag grenade, you measure to like the center of this little plus sign here, and then you throw it. That's it. That's all the harder it is. So that's, these are kind of like the state of play, game state chits. I feel like you get more than enough to play what's in the box, play a standard game, you know, so it's fantastic. And then the next thing that's really interesting, something that people might be on the fence about with this system is how terrain is handled. It is mostly 2D, which is, you know, can be good, cannot be good. So, but I know they are doing numerous enhancements for it. I think I saw they were working on, last time I was on their Patreon a long time ago, they had 3D prints that you could eventually, that they were going to actually make, so you could buy these. So you could have like 3D prints of just basically like your quote unquote Toyotas, or, you know, local equivalent. You can just have those. So let me try to get my light up a little bit higher so I'm not casting so much of a shadow. As the light's changing on me here because I've been at this for a while. So you have this, so basically cars, and then you have planters, so you have a couple of long and you have a couple of short. You have air conditioning units. So, and again, if we go back to the Battle Space cards, this tells us everything that we need to know. So it's like, okay, those are 2 small planters, those are, you know, those are 2 long planters, that's car. So, and you can get a more detailed look at those too if you get the Black Powder Red Earth 28mm rulebook, available through their Patreon for $5 a month, as well as the core rulebook for Phase Line, which is something I'm going to get to next. So these are kind of the tokens. Again, these are not cheap. I don't feel like these are going to peel. They're not going to fray because they're made out of some sort of hard vinyl. Again, made in America. That's the thing I gotta stress with all this. It's made in America, because that's ultimately that's going to affect your value proposition. It might not. I don't know. It just kind of depends on yourself as a gamer and where you're at with the whole, like, keeping hobbies cheap by making things overseas in less than friendly conditions, let's say. So if you are, okay, you know, maybe the value proposition for this game isn't here, but if it is, we'll get there. We'll talk about that. So just police all of these, and then I want to thank you guys for again tuning in. Again, the system, Black Powder Red Earth from Echelon Software, available to back on their Patreon, and also available through blackpowderredearth.com. Links are going to be in the description, and I hope you all have a great evening. Bye.